Cities, counties, and school boards in many parts of Texas are considering whether to put bonds on the ballot. But there are new challenges when it comes to taking on debt to pay for future projects. You probably noticed that prices are rising for just about everything you buy. That kind of inflation also has a big impact on bonds. Money voters approve today may not be enough to carry out a project down the road. Kaitlyn Karmout takes a closer look at the challenge and how some jurisdictions are having to adjust in a changing economy.
In Cedar Park, high-capacity intersections, road resurfacing, and turn lane improvements are among the dozen road projects being proposed.
A cost escalation method was applied to determine the future cost.
The cost of the project Cedar Park is looking at could be around $125 million, but chances are that dollar won't look the same a few years from now. So city officials are having to take a hard look at what inflation will do.
The city is anticipating a 5% increase to hard and soft project costs to come up with a number around $158 million. They're calling it a conservative approach.
We are a full-service economic consultant group.
At Angelo Economics, Matt Patton anticipates the pandemic market scaries to decrease. He says once supply chain issues shore up and the labor force levels out, inflated prices should go down a bit, but until then,
local government leaders are responsible for keeping the lights on and making sure that those essential services are going. And so there might have to be just difficult decisions made about how that's done. And certainly we don't want to burden property owners with additional property taxes.
But it's very tight, and these are big projects.
In 2017, Austin ISD voters approved a $1 million bond proposal. The district's chief of operations says 85 to 90% of the construction projects have been completed, and they felt the clock ticking.
2017 until now, we've been seeing about 11 to 12% annual escalation costs, which means for every $100 million in construction-related projects, about $12 million of that is lost if not completed that year.
There's a variety of ways the district has had to make up for inflated pandemic costs, like procuring different parties sooner by moving projects up or breaking up bid packages, all in an effort to not touch the taxpayer's bank account.
We do not have the ability or opportunity to increase the tax rate. That is not what's happening. What we have to do is take the budgets that were identified in 2017 and make it work for the project that we have and that we've committed to the voter to complete.
Kaitlyn Karmout, State of Texas.
You may remember that Texas lawmakers tightened the rules on cities and counties when it comes to raising tax rates, but an interesting thing about many bond proposals is that they do not involve tax increases. That's the case for the proposal in Cedar Park that Kaitlyn mentioned. So how can any city borrow up to $150 million without raising taxes to pay the debt? The answer is tied to growth. Population growth expands the tax base and brings in more revenue. That's also the case when it comes to rapidly growing property values in Texas. According to real estate company Zillow, in December 2017, the average home value in the state was $194,000. By the end of 2018, the average value topped $205,000. The pace of growth slowed slightly in 2019, with the average value growing about $7,000, but values showed stronger growth in 2020, topping $226,000 by the end of the year. 2021 brought explosive growth, with home values rising nearly 21% statewide. Higher values mean more money in taxes for cities and counties without having to raise the tax rate. Thank you again for joining us for State of Texas. I'm Josh Hinkle. We'll be back next week to bring you an in-depth look at Texas politics.